Hello everyone, this is Tom. Today's topic of my presentation is punishment an effective behavior modification strategy on children. My written summary was based on 3 references, and this presentation is mainly focused on the main resource, which is the discipline and deviance, physical punishment of children and violence and other crime in adulthood, finished by Murray Joyce. This paper presents a theoretical model of the antecedents and consequences of the use of physical punishment by parents and teachers, and tests of that theory using data from a variety of sources, most notably the 3,300 children and 1,600 couples in the National Family Violence Survey. Over 90% of American parents use physical punishment to correct misbehavior. After introduction at the first part of his research, Storrs emphasized the importance of research on physical punishment. After that, he defined physical punishment as violence against a child younger than 18 years. The use of force, but not deadly force. Then he discovered the physical punishment and the violence. An examination of the definition shows that physical punishment of children fits every element of the definition of violence given. Thus, from a theoretical perspective, physical punishment and capital punishment are similar, despite the vast difference in level of severity. Storrs created a theoretical model in this research called that cultural spillover theory. An important component of the theoretical model to be presented is what Storrs have called cultural spillover theory, which holds that violence in one sphere of life tends to engender violence in other spheres, and that this carryover process transcends the bounds between legitimate and criminal use of force. Thus, the more a society uses force to secure socially desirable ends, the greater the tendency for those engaged in illegitimate behavior to also use force to attain their own ends. The theoretical model diagrammed in Figure 2 depicts the causes and the consequences of physical punishment and stress salient issues for empirical investigation. It is a system model because it assumes that the use of physical punishment is a function of other characteristics of the society and its members, and that physical punishment in turn influences the society and its members. Specifically, the dashed lines indicate that physical punishment affects the characteristics of the society and its members, which in turn influence the probability of future use of physical punishment. The theory developed in this paper and the research evidence so far available on that theory supports the opposite formulation. However, there is no contradiction between the idea that all violence has something in common and the idea that there are important differences between the various types of violence. Both propositions can be correct, and both approaches are needed for research on this complex phenomenon. Whether one focuses on the common elements in all violence or on the unique aspects of a certain type of violence depends on the purpose of the study. Research intended to inform interventions designed to aid battered women or abused children or to deter wife beating or street crime must focus on the specific situation of those specific types of victims and offenders. However, for research intended to inform programs of primary prevention of violent crimes such as wife beating and homicide, it is essential to understand the social structural and social psychological process by which violence becomes an integral part of both legitimate and criminal behavior. The theoretical model presented in this paper suggests that the almost universal use of physical punishment in child rearing as part of the process. As the conclusion of my written summary and my presentation, the punishment on children is effective only in short term, but in long run, the punishment will increase the antisocial behavior and violence of children in adulthood. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.